We start our show today with breaking news from our senior NBA insider Adrian Wojnarowski, who reported this. James Harden is participating in 76ers practice at Colorado State University this morning. That is what sources are telling ESPN. See, James Harden has been spotted in Fort Collins, Colorado. So that's where we start our show today. After missing Team Media Day, remember, at the start of training camp, he is now with the team. So, Woj, how did things go at practice?
Malika, largely anticlimactic, and that was a good thing for the Philadelphia 76ers. James Harden showed up, he got dressed, he stretched, and he practiced. He talked with his coaches, he talked with officials around the team, I think largely like any other player who was just arriving, but he isn't just any other player. And, you know, certainly people were watching closely in practice, waiting to see what it would look like. But I was told it was drama-free. You heard the Sixer players talk about it after. And James Harden went in and you know, sort of went at the speed of a first day of NBA training camp. The question's going to be, what does the second day look like? Right. What does the third day look like? But for day one, the arrival of James Harden, he practiced, played with his teammates, started to get to know a new head coach in Nick Nurse, and went on his way.
I think that we are going to get a little bit more into what happens day 2, day 3 in just a couple of minutes here. Please, Woj, do not go too far. But anticlimactic, Ramona, in some ways is climactic because we did not know what version of James Harden was going to show up to training camp based on what we've seen in the past. By the way, what is behind us is photos from the 76ers of today.
Look pretty good.
James Harden at training camp. But all of this, it comes back to Joel Embiid, to his teammates, to the people that he didn't call liars, the people that he is going to battle with here. How are they feeling about all this?
Look, Joel Embiid is pretty confident in saying every single time he is asked, I just want to win. I just want to win. And that is code. I know you can decode things too. That is code for no more drama. Like, let's just move on. Let's move forward. Okay? Let's move forward and let's just focus on winning because this team is in Colorado right now practicing in the altitude next door to where the defending NBA champions are because they think of themselves as a championship contender. If they have James Harden in the fold, they are a championship contender. If he, and as Woj said, what happens on day 2, on day 3, on day 4. I think the sense that I get from talking to Sixers players is, you know, if he's there and he's ready to play, everybody's fine.
I know you and Fergie, I go Mary J all day, every day. No more drama in my life, right? I like this being the tone because it's professional. And Woj said something, he isn't just any player. That's for better or for worse. And I think oftentimes we speak about the for worse when it comes to James Harden because of how he's moved from destination to destination and how awkward this situation is for the Philadelphia 76ers. But he has showed up and he has played. And I saw those pictures. Those were not the same looking pictures last time he forced his way out years prior, right?
Rumors of suits and costumes.
Yeah, the suits and all them things. But the for better is you have to remember, this is a guy that he was the first 76ers player to ever lead the NBA in assists per game. He is capable, if those steps of maturation are there, to still put them in contention. He's really evolved his role. So if he goes out there and does his job, I actually think that is for the better because that ups his stock, it ups his market, and hopefully that is the game plan by him and his team.
Perk, when you see these photos coming out of training camp this morning, he left, James Harden did, before speaking with reporters. But is this as expected? Is this how you expected the situation to play out?
You know what, Malika? I don't know what to expect no more. This is so much of a roller coaster. I'm over it. It's a toxic relationship, you know, that you just keep hearing, you know, them going back and forth. And sometimes you want to chime in, and then you realize that they're going to do this on a regular basis. And all of a sudden, 2 days later, they're going to be knocking the boots, singing Christmas carols. So at this point, I don't even know what to say because 1 minute James Harden don't want to be there. He don't show up. Daryl Morey's a liar. Now all of a sudden he shows up to camp and everybody watching him and he shows up and they have a good practice. So at this point, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with them, and I don't believe nobody knows.
James Harden still wants to be traded, and specifically to the Los Angeles Clippers. The Clippers would like very much to acquire James Harden, put him with Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. But those talks have not gained any traction. The Sixers' asking price is high, and Philadelphia certainly at this point, they're not, or the Clippers at this point are not inclined to bid against themselves, offer more in a trade than they have already when they know they're not bidding against anybody else, when they know they've made Philadelphia the best offer, and especially because of where we are on the calendar. Still weeks away from the first game of the regular season, and we're still a long way away from the February trade deadline.
Right.
And the playoffs starting in April. And I think both the Sixers and the Clippers, their need for James Harden isn't necessarily over 82 games. It's to have him ready to go for the playoffs. Certainly, he helps you get through the regular season. He helps you get a better seed. But this is not a trade that has to happen in the short term. And Philadelphia, all along, they believed if we give up James Harden for the kind of assets that don't allow us to use them to go out and get someone to replace James Harden, we don't have a chance to win with Joel Embiid. And that's like throwing in the towel with Embiid. And so they want to see if they can keep pushing this along. A cooperative, engaged James Harden, it may not be like that every day, but I think Philadelphia now, getting him into camp was a big step. Getting him on the practice court was a bigger step. And again, though, day to day, this is certainly going to be something we're going to have to monitor because it may not always go as well as it did today.
Woj, thank you very much. Ramona, I'm curious, though, him reporting to training camp, does that change his stock value for being traded here?
I think it helps in the sense that the way he gets himself traded is by rebuilding his value, is by demonstrating I'm still a really good player in this league and I'll show up and I'll play and be professional. Because anyone trading for him right now is trading for him for 1 year. You cannot sign him to an extension because he picked up that player option. And so I think this, to me at least, him showing up. Now, we should always couch everything with, let's see if tomorrow, if he has to talk to the media, what he says. Let's see if he's got some lower back soreness and now he can't play. Let's see what happens over the next couple of days here to answer your question, Malika, because I think that matters in going forward in his trade value. But Woj is right. Like, there's nothing that's going to change in the short term for James Harden other than him playing and showing that he's still James Harden.
Well, Nick Nurse has said right now, and this can change minute to minute, the expectation is it went well today. We hope that it goes well tomorrow. And all inclinations are that he is going to be there once again on, what day is it? Thursday, tomorrow, Friday again.
Yeah, it was good. We had a really good practice. I always get day one, everybody's always super excited, and day two, you're always a little leery, but it was probably a little bit more intense and energy out there today than yesterday, believe it or not. Both really good. And of course, James was out there and participating and did a good job.
The expectation he's going to be here going forward now and fully participate like today, or is that still unclear? Just from your conversation.
I think so, Tim. I think that he's here. He knows the schedule, right? And we expect him to be here.
So now we are with the man who actually witnessed James Harden showing up to training camp today, Tim Bontemps, live from 76ers training camp in Fort Collins. So, Tim, take us inside. What was it like, the reunion today between James Harden and the 76ers here?
Well, as you just heard from Nick Nurse there, Malika, James Harden participated in practice today, and the universal opinion was that it went really well. He participated virtually in all parts of it. He looked good physically. He looked good to his teammates. Everybody said simply that he looked great in practice. And in this As the World Turns saga with James Harden and the 76ers, as you laid out in that opening montage, it's been going on for an endless amount of time now, it seems like. Today was a very good day. Now, that doesn't mean tomorrow's going to be a good day. It doesn't mean Friday will be a good day. It doesn't mean next week will be a good week. But I think with the way the Sixers are operating on this right now, it is a day-by-day situation. And the last couple days, they expressed patience and hope and optimism that James Harden would join them and be part of this team going forward at some point. He joined them here in Fort Collins today. Today went very well, and then they'll wait and see what happens tomorrow. And I think that's really where this thing sits, is that it's just a day-by-day thing, but that today, at least the second day of practice, was a very good day of practice and a very good day for the Sixers because James Harden was here and engaged with his teammates and participating in practice.
I can appreciate mindfulness. I'm being told all the time I need to work on living in the moment a little bit more. So I think that is very zen and admirable of the 76ers. But is it just bygones be bygones? The expectation is, all right, things are smooth sailing moving forward until they're not?
Well, I've covered the Sixers for a few years now for us, Malika, and it's never smooth sailing for a long period of time with this team. So I think it's safe to say that everybody here is just waiting to see what's going to happen next. But look, the Sixers have wanted to have James Harden come back into the fold this whole time, right? That is the optimal outcome for them. It's why they, as I reported the other day, it's why they gave him the 25% of his contract that he was due on October 1st. It's why they've said this last couple of days that they want him to be back around the team. This is not like the Ben Simmons situation from a couple of years ago,
right,
where there was clear animus between guys on the team and Ben Simmons, and it just never felt like that was going to end in a good resolution for everybody involved. In this situation, the Sixers want James Harden to be part of this thing. The question is, does James Harden want to be part of this until he gets his desired outcome to be traded? Like I said, today he was here participating and engaged. And I think at this point, we just have to wait and see what happens tomorrow and beyond, because with the Sixers, it's very hard to plan anything out more than 24 hours at a time.
As my mama would say, patience is a virtue. Tim Bontemps, thank you so much for spending some time with us here on NBA Today.
I'm on fire. It's NBA,